Well, we turn now to the race for the White House, with both major political parties nominating historically unpopular candidates. Some voters are looking for an alternative. Libertarian nominee Gary Johnson hopes to be said alternative, but as you see here, he is polling below the 15% threshold necessary to qualify for the first presidential debate, which is fewer than 3 weeks away. Former governors Gary Johnson and Bill Weld running as the Libertarian Party's presidential and vice presidential candidates, and good enough to join me once again on set. Gentlemen, welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you. Governor Johnson, I want to begin with the debate commission. Again, has made it clear it will invite candidates to the debates if they score above 15% in an average of 5 national polls. Right now, Real Clear Politics has you get right around 8%. We're about 3 weeks out now from the first debate.
You know, yesterday the Washington Post came out, and in 40 states we are over 10%. In 15 states we're over 15%, and in 6 states we're over 19%. So actually it just keeps on ratcheting up. And then yesterday, interestingly, they did an analysis on CNN and Fox and realized they weren't polling any millennials. I guess that has to do with they're using a telephone, and
which is a huge part of your support.
It's exactly. Well, it's our biggest part of our
Gary
support.
is running number 1 at voters 18 to 24, number 2 at voters 18 to 34, and he was 13% nationwide in this Washington Post survey. So we're getting pretty close. But 15% nationwide is one way to get there. Another factor is that 76% of the people in the country want us in the debates to help educate everybody, and that's the function of the commission. They're a nonprofit educational institution. So if I was on the commission, that would weigh heavily on my decision as to whether to put us in the debates. The country wants it for obvious reasons.
But they have committed to this. They've committed to this polling
they've committed.
average.
That's one avenue. They've also said have 3 lecterns there for the debates. They've said maybe extra credit for Governor Johnson if he's over 15% in swing states, which he is. He's half a dozen swing states. Gary is a real factor.
Well, they also they've left it fuzzy. They've said by mid-September. It would seem that they are giving a wide berth.
No, they are, and the clock doesn't stop ticking. So it would also be really embarrassing to say, come the middle of September, restrict the debate to Clinton and Trump, when a couple of weeks later we might be acknowledged at being 15%. That would also be an embarrassment.
You know,
so we'll see what happens.
In 2013, just a couple of years ago, there was a commission set up, the Annenberg Commission, to make recommendations to the debate people, and they recommended that the threshold be lowered to 10% for the first debate. I was looking at a video of Jesse Ventura last night, who was elected governor of Minnesota. He joined the debates. He was at 10%. 6 weeks later, he was elected governor. So you can make that kind of move, and if we come in at 15, 20%, I think we're going to have so much momentum that when we get 100% name recognition, we're going to be a serious factor to win it all.
Is there talk between the campaign and the commission? Is there lobbying going on?
Well, there's no lobbying because, of course, the Presidential Debate Commission, made up of Democrats and Republicans, they're way above. You know, this is all about, you know, doing the right. You get it. Yeah.
What are you suggesting? Governor Weld, your running mate, was recently asked if it was game over if he doesn't get to the debates, and he said yes. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think Gary's point is if we're not in any debates, we're not going to have the name recognition we need to win the whole thing. But I think we can win the whole thing because I think we have winning arguments. We're fiscally responsible. We're socially inclusive. That does not describe either the D's or the R's. So Gary and I truly think we have, in Gary's words, a 6-lane highway right up the middle. Once we can be heard to win this whole thing because we can persuade people. That's what debates are supposed to be at. They're not supposed to be about insults and yelling. They're supposed to be about persuading people. So let's go have a good old-fashioned debate, and we at least will try to persuade the American electorate.
You have begun spending. You're up with your first TV ad. Why did you wait until now?
Well,
was there a thought that perhaps a couple of months ago we start doing this so people start talking about?
Gee, there's that whole notion of having money to be able to do that.
Fair.
So right now we've got that money.
We know that.
Fair.
You know, having money, but that we've gone up now in these states. In those 10 states that were above, in those 15 states that were above 15%, 10 of those states we're spending money in. So it's obviously having an effect, a big positive effect.
Couple policy questions. questions for you. On immigration, I think it's safe to say you're about as far on the spectrum from Donald Trump as you could possibly be, based on our previous conversations. Yes. Your reaction then to his trip to Mexico last week and his restating that Mexico will be building a wall.
I thought it was awful. I thought he hung that Mexican president out to dry. I can't imagine another head of state wanting to do business with Donald Trump after that performance. He says one thing, comes back here, gives a press conference, and says another. That is not presidential.
You know, the Wharton School of Business came out with an analysis of immigration. What if we were to restrict immigration? Well, that was going to have a negative impact on the economy. And let's see, Wharton School of Business, that's where Trump graduated. That's where he got his degree. But then the second scenario was increasing work visas for high-skilled workers, which would have a nominal positive impact on the economy. And then there was increasing immigration dramatically, and that would have an overwhelmingly positive impact on the economy. He
himself referred to the policies of Dwight Eisenhower and Operation Wetback. He has talked at times of a deportation force.
It tells you all you need to know, that he refers approvingly by name to Operation Wetback, right? That's the word that the late Senator Jesse Helms, rest his soul, used to use to describe Mexicans all the time. It's completely out of the American mainstream.
On foreign policy, last night Donald Trump accuses Hillary Clinton of supporting, in his words, military adventurism. We'll be hearing both of their foreign policy positions later today in a series of speeches, but what do you make of his characterization?
Well, he's probably accurate on that one, but I don't think it's intentional on Hillary Clinton's part. But what is unintentional coming from our government, Obama and Clinton, is the fact, and it goes back to Bush, we do support regime change. And when we support regime change, it has the unintended consequence of making things worse, not better. We go in, we support the opposition in Libya and Syria. Well, the opposition, although not directly allied with ISIS, both have the same goal, taking out the existing regime. Well, opposition gets beat. We've armed the opposition. The arms end up in ISIS hands. This is what we consistently deal with.
That's paying a military price, making the world less safe. You also pay an economic and even a moral price, as Gary has pointed out. You know, the Iraq invasion of 2003, I was all over the world on business in the ensuing couple of years. We paid a moral price for that one.
Get you out of here on this one. It's something I asked you when you were a new ticket, now that you've had the opportunity to spend the summer together. If nothing else, it seems that whoever becomes president will be the president of a deeply dissatisfied electorate. Are we seeing a referendum on the two-party system this year?
Unquestionably, we're seeing a referendum. And does anybody think that if we elect Trump or Clinton, that the polarity in Congress is going to get any better? It's going to be worse than ever. Our pitch is, hey, how about electing a couple of former Republican governors, libertarians, reelected in heavily Democrat states, hiring a bipartisan administration, Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, everybody will be libertarian leaning, calling out both sides to come to the middle. Come on, come to the middle. Let's deal with these issues. I think that third scenario has a real chance of succeeding. I don't think the former two have any chance whatsoever.
If you look at Washington, D.C. and Congress, it's pretty easy to conclude that a two-party monopoly has outlived its usefulness.
And there it shall remain. Governor, great to see you guys again.
Yeah, thank you very much.